Every single person in this world has a story to share. Your story is your superpower, and it's unique to you. In sharing it with the world, you can impact millions of people. If you keep it to yourself, you are doing the world a disservice. This is Dela. I'm the host of Dela's Voice, and I help you share your superpower with the world.
Hello, welcome to another Dela's Voice Sunday live talk show. As always, I'm going to take a minute and pay my gratitude to this blessing that I have found in my life, this passion of bringing other people's stories to you every single Sunday. I learned so much in the process. I'm a student, and I hope that you are learning along with me. I hope that you get inspired, you get informed, and you get motivated to live your best life. Today's fantastic guest is a personal friend whom I've known for a little bit of time, and her story is going to awe you. In fact, this woman's resilience and courage to do the things that most women in her position would have found impossible. She kept dreaming, and she stepped forward, and with every action she took, she knocked down, I want to say, roadblocks in her way. And she is here today to tell her story, and we are going to talk about her fantastic book, a book that brought tears to my eyes. It made me laugh. It made me want to be better. It made me want to do better. And I hope that you stay with us for the hour as we bring a little bit, excuse me, woo, a little bit more light and shine on my friend, Sara Rahimi. I'm going to give you a little bit of a bio about Sara, so you know a little bit about her, and then we're going to bring her on and we're going to chat. Sara is a professional certified life coach. She's a member of the International Coach Federation, best-selling author, a member of the Canadian Association of the Professional Speakers, and a grief recovery specialist. She has been featured on Rogers TV, on multiple Iranian platforms. Excuse me, I got a frog in my throat. And she's been featured in several magazines, and currently she's pursuing her master's degree in counseling psychology. She keeps learning where she can combine her life experiences with scientific research to help people face their fears and rediscover their authentic self and overcome life challenges. Sara believes it takes courage to be you and to be true to yourself and to live a life you love and deserve. Sara's book is Little Sara of Tehran, and here it is, a picture of Sara's book, so you know what to look for. And that's Sara's book in the spotlight. So ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this right now, please make sure you share this with other people to spread this amazing story. And please help me welcome on Dela's Voice Sunday Live Talk Show, my friend, Sara Rahimi. Welcome
Hey!
on the show, Sara.
Hello, gorgeous. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for being here. We've done this show, so we've done a show together so many times. It's always been in Iranian, and this is the first time you're on Dela's Voice. I'm so happy that you're here, and we get to share this. We get to share you with my English audience. I'm so happy you're here. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me, and thank you for the beautiful introduction. I was just listening to you and looking at that book, and I was kind of like tearing. I'm like, I can't even believe that I finished that book and it's out.
Hey, that's a big deal. It's a big deal.
It is. It was a big deal. It was a big deal. Dela, and it took me 3 years and a half, and it was a big deal because I was so fearful when I was writing the book. You know, you wrote a book yourself.
Tell me a little bit about the fears. I mean, I get it. I get it. I know where you come from. This is the book, by the way, Little Sara of Tehran. And when I read this book, and I knew I felt it all. I did. And I think everybody in my age group, or a little bit younger, a little bit older, who lived through all of this would definitely resonate with everything you said. But I want you to explain a little bit why the fear, Sara?
Why the fear? So this is a memoir, right? This is a memoir. And when I was writing the book, there were so many times that I doubted myself. There were so many times that I was fearful of judgment. What are gonna people say? Are they gonna like my book? Are they gonna start talking? Lots of judgment, you know. And in this book, I wrote so many. I basically talked about a lot of things that we normally don't talk about. You know, I wrote about my childhood. I wrote about my parents. I wrote about my family. I wrote about my uncles. I wrote about my relationships in the past. I wrote about the regime, like the Iranian government, and all the terror and the fear that we basically faced when I was growing up. I don't know, like probably it's different right now. I don't know. There's still the terror, like the atmosphere of terror is still there, but in a different way. So when I was a teenager growing up, that was a way different world. You know, I could not, like the first chapter, I explained how I kind of had to push the guy out of the window because I didn't want to get caught by the morality police.
So just to give people a little bit of a background, because people are going to be like, what is she talking about?
What?
I know. She pushed her date. She out the window. Not. He's okay. He was okay. Because he was afraid of getting caught with.
But he didn't die.
He didn't die. No, but this is like, okay, imagine being a teenager and wanting to date someone. And I wasn't
even dating him, Dela. I wasn't even dating him. He was a friend. He was a family friend, and he was over. And I don't know, we were doing homework and stuff. And so I remember this was the time that my parents had divorced. So my mom and my sister, we moved out of the house, and we basically rented an apartment in an area that was I didn't like the area. I hated that neighborhood. And it was in an area that's like when we would, and you know, when you're already divorced as a woman, at least not now, again, back then, how people look at you, you know, oh my God, like a divorced woman with 2 teenage girls. Oh my God, you know, we have to watch her. We have to, you know, make sure that, you know, they're not doing anything wrong. So the neighborhood that we went actually was a very kind of religious neighborhood. And our landlord, he was one of those people that I was so even afraid of looking at him. Like he looked so scary. I'm not even joking. So this friend was over, and I don't know, he was over for an hour or so. And then when he was leaving, the door downstairs was locked. Like the main entrance was locked. It was a 3-story building, so the main entrance was locked. So the guy came back and he was like, "Sarah, the door is locked." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So I went
You were
downstairs.
locked in.
Yes. So, and I went downstairs and I saw the like kind of like a very like furious look of this guy that he like, you know, with his all the beard and everything. Ugh. And he's like, "I called the morality police. You two are not going anywhere." Well, and of course he called me names like whore and bitch and whatever.
Yeah.
And he said, "You two are not going anywhere until the morality gets here. So you will learn your lesson.
Yeah, you'll pay for it.
You'll pay for it." And what was the, you know,
The crime. The crime was to be alone with a boy.
Crime. And you know what they would do? I could get flogged, or I could, we could get, they could marry us on the spot. Because we were not halal, right?
Sure.
Together, we
Yeah.
were not halal. So like those days, I talk about all those days that I was so fearful, like the society and the male dominant country, and like all the norms that, oh, you should listen to this, you should be a good girl, don't do this because I don't want you to shame the family, you shouldn't shame your father, you should. So all those things that as a woman, as a teenager, as a young woman growing up in an Islamic world, basically, and how we were so oppressed, I talked about them. And you know, it was so scary because I didn't know, I wasn't sure how far I could go. You know, on one hand, I really wanted to say a lot of things, like what you see in that book. Still, like, I know that you think
It's
that it's
censored
too much.
by you.
Exactly, you know. And this is the thing, even my family, like my sister, my uncles, they were like, "What the heck are you doing? Like, you don't want to jeopardize, you know, our life." So I was really fearful, like how much can I share, you know? And on one hand, I wanted to share a lot. I wanted to tell the world what's going on, and I wanted to tell the world, what does it look like growing up in a country, in a society, like under the regime that is Islamic, and women don't have enough rights, you know, and women are basically secondhand citizens. Right? So I wanted to show the world that, and tell the world, especially like North Americans. So what is the history? What is the story behind all these immigrants who move to a new country? Nobody wants to leave their country. Nobody. But we all, like all immigrants, they leave their countries because of lots of different reasons, you know. Maybe it's economy problem, maybe it's social problem, maybe it's whatever it is. A lot of people actually come here as refugees because they don't feel safe in their own countries. So and then when you come here, it's a whole, you know, like a new country, new culture. It's like, oh, okay, I don't even know who I am. I don't even feel that I belong to this new world. You know, who am I really? You know, oh, what are my beliefs? Oh, what are my values in life? You know, so you kind of have an idea when like, obviously when you decide to immigrate to a new country, but when you get here, it's very different. You have to start from scratch. You have to start, like, it's not the same at all. So it takes a long time to find yourself, to rebuild yourself and your identity. So on one hand, I wanted to show like our North American friends that, okay, what is it, what does life look like living in a country like Iran, and why people leave, especially women, leave their country, leave Iran, let's say, or any other immigrants. And what are the challenges when we come here?
Yeah.
you know. So there were so many doubts, there were so many certainties, like how far can I go with this, how honest I can be with this, you know, and am I putting my family or friends in danger? What are the repercussions, you know? What is like right now, I don't think that I will ever go back to Iran, you know, because I don't want to risk it. I don't want to risk getting caught. I don't want to risk getting in, you know. So
because of what you wrote in the book.
Because of what I wrote in the book, because of what I wrote in the book, and then again the judgment of I already have I already got a few calls actually from
relatives.
From relatives that they are not happy with what I wrote.
Yeah.
But I honestly had to share what I had to share.
Yeah. And that's really important, isn't it, Sara? I mean,
yeah.
So now that you look back at this book, and obviously your mom and dad are no longer with us. They're passed on. And your mom and dad were totally different in your life. I mean, your mom was this free-spirited woman who just encouraged you to be you and do whatever you want, and you know, and taste life to its fullest. And your dad was this conservative, you know, what would people say? What would people think? And Sara, you have to put on a face. Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, so if your mom and dad were alive today, what do you think? First of all, would you have written this book?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a very good question. I'm not sure if my dad was alive, if I still would have done it. But my mom, yes. My mom, yes.
Love this book.
Yeah. Yeah. She was honestly, like, she was my role model, and she was one of the most courageous women I've ever seen, you know, in her own, like, she was way ahead of her time.
Yeah.
She was way ahead of her time. Yeah. And it's funny, the things like you mentioned in my bio that I'm doing my master's in psychology, like these books that I have, all these self-help books that people are reading these days, or I've been reading for the past while. My mom had a huge library, you know, she had already read all of these, you know, at that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and at the time that relatives would make fun of her, you know? So, yeah, she was a big role model for me.
I should be so proud of you, Sara. I just know, and your dad would be so proud of you. They both would be so proud of you.
My dad probably would be like, you did what you had to do,
finally. You ended up being that strong woman, that strong, independent woman. I think that your dad would have secretly want, I think.
Yes, my dad secretly, not secretly actually. It's funny because he was a very conservative and traditional in some ways. Like the way that he didn't let my mom work, you know, that was so, you know, such a typical Persian guy. But he didn't want that for us, for his daughters. Like, I remember he always told us, because they always argued, and I mentioned that in the book, that my parents actually divorced from each other.
Yeah, that was funny, but unfortunate, but funny.
I know, I'm like, make up your mind, people. Like, we're confused.
They couldn't live with each other, and they couldn't kill each other, but they couldn't live without each other either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But he always said that because this is the story that, like, this is the picture that I always have in my mind from my parents' arguments. My mom was fighting for her rights. She was like, "You never let me work. If I had, if I had worked, I would have done this and da 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 da." And my father was always like, "No, you already have more, way more than other people who are doing this or doing that, right?" So he always told us, make sure to be independent, become independent, have your hands in your own pocket, so no man like me can tell you what to do in your life.
Yeah.
So he wanted, not secretly, he wanted that independence and the power for his daughters, but not for his wife.
Just for his daughters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's say hi to some people who are with us. Sarah,
Sure.
Deborah is here, and she's very kind, very kind. Babak is here, and he says, "Hi, Dela. Hi, Sarah. Welcome back." Our friend Manish is here, and she says, "Hi, Dela and Sarah." And Sarah J, the encyclopedia of Dela is here.
Oh yeah.
Badia. Hi to the two fantastic women, Dela and Sarah. Thank you. And have a lovely time to the friends. I don't know. I can't make that out. And Sarah says, this will be an hour full of energy and lessons from me. Deborah says, I believe your dad would be proud of you too. As we get older, we become more accepting of things we may not have been years prior.
That's true.
And she says, I love this. My parents were exactly like yours.
Arguments all the time, right?
Arguments all the time. So in your book, Sarah, you go through your years of teenagerhood through this period of really, really strict rules and regulation, but also the strict rules of society in general, of people, of the judgment and all the stigmas. And you question a lot of them. You put a lot of them through this lens of, I would say criticism. And I think for me, there were a lot of aha moments. And I think one of those aha moments was, I went through this. I lived through this. I never questioned this.
Oh.
And I
like what? Give me an example.
So living through the fear of getting caught, for example, if my hair was showing under my scarf, hiding in the corners of the streets so that I wouldn't be caught in my red running shoes, for example, or my tight jeans, for example, and for our North American friends, actually these things happened. And so I think that brought on a lot of trauma and that we suppress because it is what it is. That's just the way life is. And so the trauma you live with for the rest of your life. And do you know that up to just a couple of years ago, every time I saw the police, I would start having panic attacks.
Yeah.
Because exactly, that's what I did. I think, and I realized that afterwards, is that, wow, like for me, authority figure is scary.
Yeah.
I don't consider authority figure as protection and service as they, as we think of cops here, of the police here, protection and service. And so I always thought, oh my God, like I need to like keep my head down,
Yeah.
not be seen. So I think a lot of that trauma was suppressed because I didn't allow myself to feel it, because it was like, oh, so everybody feels it, so it's normal. And when I read your book, I was reading those moments of you running and your heart beating and you're sweating and you're running away from them, and you get home, and I really felt those, and I thought, oh my gosh, we are allowed to be angry. We are allowed to have those feelings of frustration and you know, like wanting to
Yeah.
and we just didn't allow ourselves. We weren't allowed. So that to me was a lot of self-discovery, because I thought, I'm allowed to feel this way. I'm allowed to be angry, because I spent years of my teenagerhood where I could have had fun and be free and be with my friends without any fear of my own government and my own police and my own people. But I spent those in fear, and it was justified.
Yeah, that's very true. And you know what, Dilaram, I think that when you're living in a society like that, anywhere in the world, when you're living and you get used to the way of living, and you kind of become numb. You know, you don't question things anymore, right? You left the country way younger. Like I left the country when I was 34, 5. So, but because I was always watching the satellite TV, which was forbidden.
Yeah,
you know that.
Just another thing that was forbidden.
Another thing, yeah. So I was always watching Oprah Winfrey, Ellen, all those powerful women, right? And I wasn't really watching a lot of Iranian channels. I was always watching those like satellite TV shows. And I was always asking myself, like, what makes them so free and powerful? How come they can speak their mind? How come they can be so confident? How come I cannot say the simple, just to say no? How can I just say no to, I don't know, my sister or my family or my father or whoever, you know? How come I cannot live the way I want to live? How come I cannot study what I like to study? All those things, you know? So I always question myself in that regard. And that was the reason that I, eventually decided to leave the country. So I always had that dream of, leaving Iran since young age, but it wasn't until when I actually lived here for a while and realized that what the way that we lived in Iran was so unusual. Like what you're saying right now, like when you yeah, special, like different. So yeah, put all those names on that, it's okay. Like when you say that when for example you're walking or driving and you see cops and you feel that like I should do something, I should maybe hide my hair, or your heart start pounding because of the trauma. We were all traumatized in Iran.
Yes.
I'm not joking. I'm not joking. Like now, again, like going to all these courses, workshops, seminars, watching our North American women talking about other stuff that they went through, maybe like sexual abuse or violence or this or that. I learned that we should be able to feel our feelings, and we should be able to talk about it, and we should actually honor those feelings. What's wrong with saying that, yes, I was traumatized in that country. I was traumatized. And then I got into psychology, and then I'm learning more and more. I'm like, holy moly, like, we're all messed up. We're all, like, in that country, we were all traumatized. But because see everybody around us living like that, it's so, oh, it's,
I'm sorry, Sarah. Can you hear me, Sarah?
it's like, okay, we're all numb. We don't, that's why we have, when we move like here, or
Sarah, can you hear me?
Yeah, do you have? Yes.
So I keep losing your voice. I keep losing your audio.
Oh, really?
So yeah, so for some reason, I don't know why, but it kept going off and on. So I wonder if we can ask our viewers, can you let us know if you heard it too, or was it just me? So I just want to make sure that, was there any,
okay.
Was there any disconnection with Sarah's audio? Can you let us know, please, if you're watching this? I just want to make sure people don't miss out on anything. And so you're going to have to kind of, if they didn't hear you, you're going to have to roll back and repeat.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so Debbie says, yes, I heard it for a moment. So yeah, it seems like your voice was cut off, like your audio was cut off for some reason.
Okay, can you hear me well?
Yeah, it's good now. Yeah, it's good now. The beauty of doing live interviews, right, on internet. This is part of it. But
it's okay.
Okay. Go ahead. Oh, and
okay. So you hear me well.
Yeah. So let me read this to you, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So Babak says, Sarah, you need to be a little bit more careful when saying Iran, because people can be confused. Iran is not equal to Islamic Republic of Iran. So that's his comment. That's his comment.
Okay, so what should I call that country then?
I think everything we're talking about.
That country is Iran, and the government is the Islamic regime that is ruling right now. So I'm not sure what to call that country then.
No, I think I hear him, but yes, you're right. It is. I mean, Islamic Republic of Iran. It's not really Iran, the country, that hurts you. It's the government that hurts.
Oh, okay. So I should make it like Islamic Republic of Iran. Oh, got it.
I think we got it. Yes, that's it. Thank you, Babak. And he says there was a problem before with the audio, but now it's good. Okay, good. All right. So back to the book. And you were saying, so yeah, this, you learned that you need to be able to feel those feelings. And I think that's what I got to, that feel the feeling. It's okay to feel angry. It's okay to feel suppressed. So it's okay to feel like your rights were taken away from you. It's not okay to say, oh, well, this is the way it is. And you know, I'm just gonna hide these feelings. So but here's the thing. You came to Canada and you changed your entire life. So something had to happen in order for you to get to that point. And I think that's really important. It's because of everything you went through that you were able to see what Canada had to offer. And here's what I'm getting at is, I think a lot of us who come from another country into North America, my experiences with Canada, and we start really taking in everything. I think we take advantage of all this freedom and of all this of all the blessings that are around us. And maybe for the North American who was born here, all these things can be taken a little bit for granted. When you came to Canada, Sara, you embraced everything. That's how
Yeah.
you were like this thirsty thirsty woman for freedom, for advancement, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of doing what you wanted to do. And you were able to achieve all of that. Not easy, right? Because you were all alone. And so, but oh my gosh, you've done well. You've done well.
Thank you. Thank you. I honestly think that all immigrants are doing well. It's interesting when because you know how active I am on social media, right? Especially Instagram. When I ask people what is the most challenging thing that you've ever done in your entire life, the ones who have immigrated to another country, they say immigration. It's a lot of work. It's interesting. Actually, right now at school, we have a course. It's diversity and culture in counseling. And so most of my classmates are North Americans. And when I write about my experiences and when I write about, immigration and stuff, they actually say that. They say, oh, wow, so you people talk about your experiences and challenges as an immigrant. And we feel like we've taken our life for granted, It is tough. It's very tough. There is what we call identity development as an immigrant. So we go through that identity development. So first, first we come here, we are so joyous. Oh my God, this is a honeymoon phase. Everything is so beautiful. People are awesome. The sky is bluer. It's like everything is so much fun. And then we go to that stage that we're conflicted. It's like, oh, okay, wait a minute. Because things get serious, you have to, settle down, you have to start working, you have to basically, the reality hits, right? Oh, mortgage. Oh, we never had mortgage to pay back home. What is this thing that I have to, why do I have to pay like tax for everything, Or, oh, now I'm living here by myself. Who's gonna take care of me if I get sick? I don't feel belong. I don't have friends. I don't have that support. I don't have that social support. So it's a lot of questioning everything. What am I doing here? You kind of get to the point that you get disappointed, you get bitter, you get angry. I posted the other day on social media and I said, all those questions that I ask myself, I'm like in a blink of an, what do you say? Blink of an eye.
Blink of an eye.
So I could just call I could call the grocery guy, the grocery shopping, right down there and give him the list to get it delivered to my house when I was back home, right? And now, I'm here and I'm sick and I still have to go and do all the groceries in -20, So what is this? So all those questions, all those and then you get angry, and then you get angry at yourself, and then you get angry at the government, and then you get angry at the government back home. Like, why should I leave my country? So everything, and then you question yourself, and then you go to that phase that, okay, why I moved here? Like, what am I doing here? What is my responsibility? What are my values? What was my big why that I left Islamic Republic of Iran, So, and then you kind of reflect on a lot of things. And then you come to the point that you accept your new reality. But it's such a mess in between.
Yeah.
It's such a mess in between. And so there is like a developmental, like identity developmental process. That's why a lot of people cannot get along with a lot of people here. And that's why a lot of people get frustrated and go back home. That's why a lot of people isolate themselves, because they cannot, because this is basically the process of acculturation, right? So they cannot adjust or adapt with the new way of living here, right? So so they isolate themselves, or they get depressed. A lot of people here are depressed and they don't know what to do. So it's a process, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Yes.
Like finding yourself, finding your new identity.
I can totally resonate with this. I mean, I went through an identity loss. I think it was a big loss for me because I lost myself in trying to fit into my new environment, and I was young. So I can imagine that the older you get and you make that move into a new country, the harder it is, because it takes longer to integrate, I want to say. And again, yes, keeping your values. You have to be a really strong-minded person to survive immigration. I think you're right, and being able to do that, it takes a lot of effort. It takes a long time. And let's see what some of the comments are. Okay, so going back to Babak, point well taken. He means that Islamic government does not represent original Iranian values. Yes.
Sure. Thank you.
Yes, and I agree, and I think the whole world knows that. My friend Robert J. Moore is here, my publisher, and my friend, thank you, Robert. He says, I cannot imagine going to an unfamiliar country and learning all the rules. This must have been taught. This must have been taught. And I think that's a really good point. I mean, I always think that, Canada opens its doors to so many different people from all over the world, and it's beautiful. That is beautiful. But I think there needs to be steps, don't you, Sarah? There needs to be some steps in that can be taught in order for new people, as they come into the country, to be able to integrate slowly and not losing their values, and right, but and also getting to know the Canadian values, because that's really important.
It is very.
Any comment on that?
So I again, during the discussions that I'm doing with my classmates these days, we were discussing that whose job is it to educate people, like Canadians, like let's say the white, they say. And I think so I wrote this book for two big reasons. One, for women who do not value themselves, who do not know their worth, who do not know how to pursue their dreams, who are so afraid of, pursuing their dreams or being their true self, that they just live a life that, is defined by other people, right? So that's one. And the second one was, for our North American friends to learn about other cultures, to learn about the story behind some of the immigrants or refugees that come here. And it's interesting, Dela, that actually a few of our North American friends who read the book they said this book should be taught at school. I understand that some of my classmates yesterday say that, oh no, it's not the immigrants, or let's say people of color responsibility to educate, let's say Canadians. But I do think that if we don't tell them where we are coming from, if we don't tell them what's going on in how we were traumatized, like, then how are they gonna know? They can't just always come and ask us, oh, so tell us, or just go and just Google and learn about our culture. They're not gonna learn like that. They're not gonna feel it. Basically, we all learn through storytelling.
Yes.
We want to hear stories. We don't want to hear, oh, let me just Google and read, 5 ways you can be Iranian.
Yeah, and probably you won't get the right story that way. You're right.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. I think everybody needs to tell stories. This is a big part of sharing our experiences together. It's what connects us together, because we're so fearful of what we don't understand and we don't know. And so when we start sharing our stories and experiences, we realize that despite that, the differences on the outside and the language differences and the geographical boundaries, we are really truly all pretty much the same, and we feel the same fears, and we have, we get inspired by the same things. I think there's so much power in telling our stories. I think that's the whole premise of Dela's Voices. This is, I want to do this and bring out the story. So Debbie says, I absolutely understand how you ladies felt. My dad worked for Aramco Oil in Saudi, and we traveled a lot in the Middle East. As a young teen, I started to see how different things were for women, but my father never allowed me to question it. And she says, I love listening to you both as my questions are being answered. See, this is what stories do, right? And she said, my mother was from Roma, Italy, and spoke absolutely no English when she met, and then married my dad. She often spoke of her hardship coming to America and became a citizen. It is hard. It is hard, right? I mean, we make it look easy.
We make it look easy. Yeah, exactly. Like our friends still back home, like in the Islamic Republic of Iran, they look at my life right now and they're like, oh my God, you have such a great life, you look very you look successful, you have everything. I'm like, make sure to read my book. There is a price for that.
Yeah, it's true. And it looks better from the outside. I think what you're trying to say, and if I'm not understanding correctly, please clarify that, because they don't see all the hardship of what making it here in a new country takes. And they feel like this is the dream come true. And so, they look at everything you have, or what you look like on social media or whatever, and they think you got there overnight. And so they don't see all the years of working hard and learning the language and going through those barriers, and it's difficult. It's difficult. It is. Sarah, but you do it so well. You do it so well.
Thank you. I'm fine. I'm fine. Everybody's fine, I guess.
You make it look easy, and I mean, I look at you, and for people who have not met Sara, she is a firecracker. Like this woman is.
Oh.
How tall are you, Sara? How tall are you?
4'10".
4'10". You grew 4'10". I'm kidding with you. She's
I grew 4'10". Oh, I think I was 4'10". No.
Sara is 4'10", and she has the energy of a little girl. She is filled with joy. She wants to experience life like no one I've ever met, and she's just enjoying her newfound freedom, and this she's just hanging on to everything life has to offer. And you know what? She's taking other people along with her. Sara's an influencer to so many people, and I know just she's so generous with everything she does. And in the Iranian community, she's trying to influence with positivity, impacting just everyone that she touches. She has a big heart, and I seriously,
Oh my God, thank you so
I'm
much.
blessed. I'm blessed to have met you. I'm blessed to have had this opportunity to call you my friend. Her book, Little Sara of Tehran, is available at most major bookstores and also on Amazon. Kindle, soft, or a paperback, and also hardcover. You can get all three versions and see for yourself. You're not able to put this book down, I promise you. And you did good. You did good, my friend. Thanks for putting this book out.
Thank you.
I'm gonna give you
Thank
a
you
few more minutes to let us know whatever you want.
Sure. Thank you so much, Dela. You're always so kind. Everything that you're saying, it's I really, I do feel grateful and blessed, just having friends like you around me who would encourage me, who would support me. Like, there was no way that I could like even finishing the book or things that I'm doing right now. There were so many people that helped me in this, encouraging me, supporting me, just cheering me along the way. It is a lot of work. It's still a lot of work. Like, I should, again, from like when you see it from the far, you're like, oh, Sara, yeah, it's so easy. Oh, it's so easy. But honestly, it's a lot of work. Even now that I'm doing my master's degree, even now that I remember last year when I started school, Dela, I was crying doing my assignments. I'm not even joking. I'm used to it now, but it was such a
I'm
new
used to the
world
crying
to
now.
me. Yes, you know that I'm a crier. Like, I was born a crier. I said that in my book, right? I could cry over, doing the wrong note on the piano. That my my piano teacher, wouldn't like it the way that. But anyways, like, but I would cry because it was hard. Like, English is my second language, and I'm doing the academics here, and it's so different. I did my bachelor's degree like back home, God knows, 20 years ago, and then now I'm doing my master's with all the native speakers. It's a new system. It's online. It's different, and I'm so new. So I was crying, and I was so much under lots of during the pandemic, pressure, stresses, work, my business, and school, and everything. And I do share this side of me and my life with my people, with my followers on social media as well, because I don't want them to think that, oh, everything is so easy. If I wrote that book, if I got out of that country, if I'm doing my master's degree, if I started my business, everything I did was because I had a vision, I had a goal, and I basically prioritized my values in my life. We can't really achieve anything without hard work. This is what I believe.
And you're such an example of achieving your dreams, because I know this life that you're living now, Sara, this was all dreamed by you, and you made it all come true. You made it all a reality. So my hat's off to you, my friend. So Sara says, I'm almost the same age as Sara, and until now I have always I want to make sure.
Do you know how old I am right now?
Aren't you 39?
I'm 46 now. I came here when I was 34, 35. I'm 46 now.
I'm kidding. Of course I knew. We don't we don't really talk about age here on Dela's Voice.
I do. I'm totally.
No, I'm kidding. I do too. She says, I'm almost the same age as Sara. And until now, I have always calmed and guided others. But since I met you, I have come to realize that I need to talk to a counselor about the past, present, and the future. Thank you very much. So Sara has been following us on our Iranian show, and she's seen you a few times. And Sara's another amazing woman who's always learning. She's just, I love her so much. I wish you the best, Sara J. That's Sara J. Talking about you, Sara. Okay.
Thank you, Sara June.
See now all the ages are coming up. Everybody's writing their age. What is up with that? We don't need to know. We don't need It's all how you feel. You know, I think now, I'm almost 50. And so I think back at years ago when I was a young kid or whatever, and someone else was 50, and I remember my aunt or maybe like my grandma or something. I just remember them being so old at 50, right? and now it's like, I'm not. What are you talking about? I'm not old. I'm still young. So it's just a number. I think it's how you feel in your heart. Whatever, you know, it is what it is. So okay, hour's up. The hour's up. Sara, how can people reach you?
People can reach me on social media, on my website, sararahimi.ca. On Instagram, I'm very active, Sara_Rahimi_coach. And yeah, they can find me. Just Google my name and probably put Little Sara. You can find me.
Google her, Little Sara of Tehran, and read this book. It's amazing. My mom read it too.
Thank you.
And obviously she had her own experiences, and she grew up in the era of before the Islamic government took over. So she has a different perspective, but she was in tears because she could totally feel the devastation too, in a different way. Aww. And so this book speaks to a lot of people. It speaks to Iranian women. It speaks to Iranian men, for sure. Especially if you have daughters or sisters, you know, to really grasp what they're going through. This book is going to help you understand. And for anyone who is non-Iranian, if you want to learn a little bit about what we've been through in the past 40 some odd years, read this book. It'll give you a clear understanding. So, Sara, thank you so much for being here today, my friend. I love you
Thank
so much, and I wish you the very best. Is there another book coming out? Any ideas if you're going to be writing
Oh
another?
gosh.
We're working on
Not
the
now.
on the translation of this book, right?
Oh gosh, yeah. Lots of Iranian friends are asking, "Oh, so can we? Is there a translation? We want your book." I'm like, first of all, you cannot find my book in that country because by the time that it gets there, it's gonna be censored, half of it. But yeah, we will be working on the translation. And thank you so much, Dela, again for inviting me, for letting me share my story with your friends. And thank you for being so kind to me always. And I love you, and I love your mom. She's amazing. She's a brave woman. Thank you.
Thank you. She loves you back. Debbie says, will the book be autographed? It's not going to be autographed, right? If they're buying through Barnes and
If it's online, no.
yeah, unfortunately, it won't be. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm hoping. I'm actually, the book is most probably going to Indigo. So I may, if because of Corona, I've heard that I'm not allowed to have like a book signing event. But I'm just looking for that opportunity. Whenever it comes up, I'll have just a small event that I can, do a book signing for friends.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I can take a picture of mine that was autographed and send it.
Oh. Yeah.
Thank you for being
You're
here.
amazing. Thank you.
Oh man.
Thank you.
For everyone who's watched us today, it was so much fun having you along. I hope you enjoyed being with us today. I hope you were inspired, and I hope that you have a blessed rest of your Sunday wherever you are. And I hope to see you very soon. Please share this show with other people to spread the inspiration. And if you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. And that's it. Until next time, this was Dela's
Thank you
voice.
so much.
You're welcome. Hoping to spark your soul. Bye, everybody.